All right, guys, I am at the Martin Cemetery somewhere in Nebraska. I was making my way through Nebraska. I saw a sign that said Martin Cemetery, and I did what I usually do is I sit there, keep driving for a minute or two thinking maybe I should go check it out. Maybe it's something cool. I do have somewhere to be, so maybe I should just keep going and not worry about it. Most times if I don't have the family around, most times I turn right around. Now this cemetery, I had to drive for about 10-15 minutes on a dirt road, checking the map several times to make sure I was going in the right place, and I finally found it. Now this cemetery is a little overgrown, and by a little overgrown I mean I had to like tromp through the bush to get into it. But when I got in here, it looks like it's been mowed at some point in maybe like the last 2 weeks, at least around most of the stones. So I will be able to look around and get a good look at the stones here. And so far, this is a really cool cemetery. So I'm absolutely glad that I turned around. So without further ado, let's take a look at the stones and see what we can find. So I've come across a stone that caught my eye. One, because I've seen a few like this design, this one, in a lot of the cemeteries that I've seen over the last couple days. Now, the difference with this one is the story that it tells. It is the story of three sisters who tragically passed away days within each other. We have 16-year-old Florence, who died on October 29th, 1890. Alma, who died October 24th, 1890, who was 14 years old. And Cora, who died on November 7th, 1890, who was 12. The inscription on the tomb reads, "Lovely and pleasant in their lives, in death they were not separated." Now, I don't know how they died. The stone does not tell us that. But what I would assume is that they all got sick. What I've noticed about this cemetery is that there are a lot of children's graves. My assumption being that a lot of these children died due to sickness because the age in which they died, the time period, medicine was not handily available. And I am literally in the middle of nowhere in farm country. So I'm going to assume these people who lived here didn't have a whole lot of access to hospitals, to doctors, to medicine. And so a lot of their children passed away. If they got sick, there was probably a really good chance they weren't going to make it. I noticed this stone here, deep in the overgrown areas underneath the tree here. I can't see who the stone belongs to because there's too many bushes, but this is probably what this cemetery looked like before somebody came and mowed it recently. Everything was probably underneath all of the bush. And this cemetery out in the middle of nowhere, farmland, Nebraska, more than likely just somebody in the area took it upon themselves to jump on their mower, bring it down here, and cut around everything, which is good because otherwise, if the grass was as tall as that area, you would have not seen any of these stones. They would have been covered over, and you would not really know there's a cemetery here except for the sign. I wanted to point out this marker because I think it's absolutely stunning. 3D etching work here that is still just in great condition for the age. It was placed in 1909, at least that's when the person whose grave it's marking passed away. And it just looks great. Now, if you've been watching this show since the beginning, you know that I love book imagery in the monument stones. The second I see a pedestal stone that's got a book on it, my eyes are immediately drawn to it, and I usually include it in the show. This is the first time I've seen a whole stone that I believe is made out of marble, that the whole thing is showcasing a book. And that is this one. There's another one here in this cemetery as well. But this I found to be just awesome. Another thing I wanted to point out, because in this cemetery, plus in a couple others that I've been to today, I have seen these markers, as I've said, which are metal. And you would think that that would mean that there is a high likelihood of chance that it's going to possibly last forever. And they do, and they look great, and you can read the inscriptions super easily and all that. That's great. But as this one shows, there's supposed to be a piece on the top, and it is down there. It broke off at some point. I don't know, got rusty, broke away, someone hit it, something. It just shows you that nothing is forever when it comes to burial markers. All right, I have to get back on the road. I am far behind the schedule that I had for today, but this was a great stop. But until next time, remember, when you are visiting cemeteries on the road, be safe, be respectful, have a good one.